everyone. Welcome back to the Med to Be. Today we have the wonderful Reddhyia here. Welcome, Reddhyia. It is so good to have you. It is so good to have you here. Before Reddhyia talks, let me hype her up a little bit. Let me give her, before I give her the stage, let me tell you exactly who she is. Reddhyia is a graduating DO student. She's in her last year and she's a rising PGY1 starting her residency very, very soon. She just signed the deal. It's done. The deal is done. She's also passionate about content creation. She's a creative person and she has put those two things together, both her creativity and her love for medicine, into creative in a white coat, which is on Instagram. So follow her on Instagram, also on TikTok. She's also an aesthetic girl just like me. She loves a good restaurant, loves a beautiful aesthetic, loves a good time. She's definitely one of the girls. So it's so good to have you here. Welcome, Reddhyia. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. I'm on summer vacations, classes are done, so I'm in a very happy place and I'm happy to be
I
here.
love that. Enjoy. Enjoy. You deserve it. You have been working
Yeah,
hard
I
for how
need
many
it.
years? You deserve it. You deserve it, please, honestly. Okay. So now you're getting ready to go into your first full-time job as a DO, as a doc. How do you feel?
It's very surreal
Mhm.
because you work so hard for this moment and it gets here and it's just like wow, all these years everything you've been doing is finally coming to fruition. And to be honest, once you're actually in it, it goes a bit faster than you would have expected. So the fact that I'm here now, I'm just very thankful. I'm very blessed to have even gotten to this point and made it. And it's just very surreal. It hasn't clicked yet. I was hoping I would feel like different, but I feel the same. I'm just very excited to start this new journey.
That's so cool. And I'm so excited for you too. As someone who is like really early in her journey for me, it's
Hmm.
so inspiring to see you, someone who I identify myself with, who is beautiful, who is smart, who is creative, who is so many things and is thriving and growing and successful in her career. I want to take you back to the beginning a little bit. Let's go back a little bit. Tell us about what the first steps or what the first few years of your journey was like when you were pursuing medicine. Why did you even want to be a doctor to begin with?
Hmm.
And specifically, why did you want to be a DO as well? Redia is our first DO. First of all, yes, making records. You're the first DO on the Met to be. Years from now, when
Wow,
this
thank
podcast is very
you.
big, you'll be the first. So, why did you want to be a DO? Why did you even want to be in the field of medicine to begin
Hmm.
with?
So I'll start with the field of medicine. Um, like many pre-med, well, people in medicine who kind of had like a family member who was sick or were sick themselves. I have that story. So one of my twin brothers, he broke his leg. It was a horrible, complete fracture of his femur, and I was helping take care of him at the age of around 9 or something. And that's when I first became really interested in medicine and what it is in general. So let's fast forward a lot of years, and throughout high school, throughout undergrad, I still had that passion to be a doctor, but I had a few doctors in my family, but they were in Ghana. So, the system is just completely different. So I didn't really have anyone here who kind of knew how to get to medicine. It was just kind of talking to people, talking to med advisors who are usually just very used to a very cookie cutter type of applicant and
Mhm.
just trying to navigate that. So, when I got the chance, I would go to Ghana to visit family and I would speak to, I guess, the connections my family had over there and kind of see medicine in that aspect. So it kind of fueled my passion for just combining culture and health. It was just very interesting to see how medicine works in another country and just see how culture is integrated into the care of a patient. So through that I kind of started getting very interested into almost like the improvement of health because that was my theme for my personal statement. So just like the improvement of health, improving in general. So, how can we work to help a patient's health, work with them to improve their health while still respecting their culture? So that was kind of my why for medicine, being able to support someone on their journey through health from like a cultural and like integrative aspect. So combine that all with being a DO. When I was first applying to med school, I didn't really know about DO in general. To be honest, I can't even remember how I ended up learning about it, but I did my own research and read this book on why it was founded in the first place, and I really resonated with the principles because the your doctor of osteopathy, like your doctor of osteopathic medicine, it's really focused on kind of like your body is a mind, body, and spirit. Like you're more than just one aspect of you. You need to consider who you are as a person, what you do, and all those, like a holistic approach. And I really did like that mentality. So when I was applying, I did apply to both MD and DO schools, and I did get into both MD and DO schools. But in the end, I wanted to learn osteopathic medicine. I just thought it was very cool. I'm a very handsy person. Like I like doing DIYs. I like using my hands. I like kind of like an approach, a hands approach to things. So I just thought it'd be nice to be able to learn osteopathic medicine and know that if I go back home to Ghana or I go to a country that has limited resources, I still have something in my toolbox that I can use to help a patient. Yeah.
Definitely. I love that the DO profession is like you said, it encapsulates the mind, body, and the spirit. That's one of the things that really attracts me to that field actually. It's very, very interesting to view a human being as more than just their cellular framework, but to
Hmm.
view them and their lives and their cultures and how those things are intertwined because the environment does have a great impact on someone's health and their
Right,
culture does have great
exactly.
impact on someone's health. So that's a wonderful initiative and that's a wonderful mind frame to go into medicine with. Now, what did that process look like? Because you have the dream. I always say you have the dream, you have the vision, but what were the steps that you took? What were some challenges or some success stories that you experienced in the earlier phases of your journey when applying to medical school?
Yeah. So as I was saying before about not really knowing how to navigate medicine, that was very true in undergrad. In undergrad, it's the time when you're supposed to be building your application. So I knew I wanted to take a few gap years, that one I did know. So after I graduated, I was like, okay, let's start this medicine thing. So when I started looking at applications and looking at what requirements were needed, I realized that my grades did not cut it for medicine at that time. They didn't. So I kind of spoke to a few advisors, spoke to a few doctors I had met when I had shadowed in Ghana, and just like a few through my pre med degree and got their advice. And I ended up doing a DIY post bac program because me personally, I was kind of stuck in, I feel like pre meds as a pre-med, you go through different phases where you're not okay with change, and that's okay as well. You have a plan for yourself. You want to do this, this, and this, and you want it to go this way. So for me, I was a bit stubborn in the fact that I didn't want to commit to an entire post-bac because I just want to go to medical school. I don't want to do an extra step. So I was like, okay, maybe if I do a few classes to improve my GPA, that would work out. So I did about 16 credits out of pocket, unfortunately. So that's an expense as well,
Child, yeah.
too expensive, while studying for my MCAT. So I ended up raising my GPA in the long run after doing those 16 credits, but I rose my GPA enough to be eligible for grad programs or like to apply to a post grad. I didn't build my application fully enough to get into medical school. And during that same time, I was trying to take my MCAT, trying to take my MCAT. I ended up retaking it 5 times. It was it was a long journey. We thank the Lord that we're out, but we thank the Lord. But it was a long journey, and through that journey, I kind of had to look in within myself. I had to realize what things worked and what things were not working because even my first three MCATs, they were all the same score, just like different distribution of the sections, but they were all the same score. So something I had to kind of go within myself and realize that something might be fundamentally missing from your studying. And that's when I actually decided to kind of make the next steps and do a post bac or a
Mhm.
graduate program.
Mm.
I had advisors tell me that you're still not ready to apply to medical school. I did apply to medical school and I did not get in. But sometimes you just need to make some mistakes for yourself. It's really complicated with medicine because you get advice from every different window. And I think sometimes it's very important that one, obviously you listen to them, but also take things with a grain of salt. If you need to apply to know that you're not going to get in, Like it's hard being on the outside and telling someone like, no, don't do it. But sometimes you just need to learn for yourself. So that was my
Mhm.
situation. I ended up doing it. I didn't get in, which was no surprise. It's okay. But
You're here
I
now.
I'm
Mm,
here now.
there
I'm
you
here
go.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't get in, but like I needed to know for myself, do I keep going or do I not? And that I was
Yeah.
fine with that. So I ended up doing my master's in forensic science at Drexel, and after that, I got a MCAT class and raised my score by 10 points, and now we are
Wow.
here. So yeah, it takes a
Wow.
lot.
Yeah. I see a lot of determination in your story. I see a lot of concentration, a lot of, I don't want to say perspiration, but that's not the right word to use. I see a lot of determination. I see a lot of focus in your journey.
Yes.
And I admire that you really kept going. You didn't let one setback knock you down. You kept going. And that is so inspirational to me. Um, and I just want to ask also, so like moving into now being in medical school, what was that experience like for you? Did you enjoy medical school? Is it as hard as people really say it is? Were you able to balance your social life, your creative life? What was that like for you?
Yeah. So I remember at the beginning of medical school, I was really just happy to be here. I was just happy to be here, child. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. I don't have to do that MCAT anymore. I don't have to do any
No,
of this. Thank the Lord.
yeah.
So getting into medical school, it's such a big accomplishment. It's so big because my pre-meds out there, you guys know the journey. You know the struggle. You know the struggle. And once you're there, it's great. Is it as hard as they say it is? I will say this. It's a different type of hard.
Okay.
Sometimes I tell my mentees, I'm like, the beginning of medical school is stuff you've seen before. You have your cell biology, you have your immunology, you learn about bugs, but that's not the difficult part. The difficult part is the fact that you are learning a semester of genetics in 2 weeks.
Hmm.
That is the hardest part about medicine. My parents, again, they're Ghanaian. So I remember when I would complain to them first year, they're like, well, what happened to all the people before you? Didn't they do it? You know,
Hey, hey,
that typical
the two
response.
heads, all, hey,
Right. Like, do they have two heads? Well, what's different about them?
hey.
And like sometimes we laugh at those responses, but I will say that sometimes I did look back. I'm like, okay, well, someone did it, like,
Hmm.
and that idea that it is possible, you just need to figure out how is very important.
Yeah.
So through medicine, balancing, balancing, it's a skill. It's a skill. To be honest, I didn't start balancing medicine and my outside life until a mentor of mine told me that I literally need to force myself to take a day off.
Okay.
Yeah, so first year I was 13 hours, 13 hours, 13 hours every day, bam, bam, bam. And by the end of first year, I was burnt out. I was completely burnt out. I was like, how am I going to keep doing this for 4 years? It's just a lot. You're just
Hmm.
sitting every day. It's a lot. So when board season started, where you do really have to buckle down. Half of boards is a mental game. So you need to like be in good spirits. And that's when she kind of told me, I need you to take a day off. Like, I need you to force yourself. Start out with half. Like, she was literally weaning me onto taking a day off. She said, start off with half a day and then work your way up. So I did that and it felt so uncomfortable. I felt guilty. I felt crazy. I'm like, I should be studying. My scores are garbage. Like, what am
Hmm.
I doing here looking at the sunlight? Like, what is happening? But best thing I ever did because you get to give yourself something. You get to reward yourself for putting up with medical school. And, like, treat yourself.
Treat
Treat
yourself.
yourself.
Yes.
Yes, treat yourself. So for me, I made sure that I would do one DIY every week.
That's so cool.
So on my day off, I didn't have a set day, but I knew I would take one day within 7 days. So I would make sure I always did a DIY project. So I got to use my hands, I got to like be creative, and that was kind of
Wow, that is
yeah.
so interesting. Treat yourself is the thing that I've learned from that, especially when you are hard working, especially when you're pushing yourself
Yeah.
through. The journey is very long, and it is very easy to get tired because of the volume of work and the volume of information you download. People often use that the standard fire hose. Was that fire
Yes,
hose inside
yes.
your mouth? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
which also
lot.
scared me. Yeah, I was like, I need a better analogy.
Yeah,
That
you need
scared
to come up with
me.
something else because that's very scary.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's so good to hear that you have now like you are now prioritizing taking care of yourself. And I want to lean
Hmm.
into that a little bit more. What does that look like for you? Um, one of the beauties of talking to medical students and talking to people like you is that we see the multifaceted nature of someone who is in
Hmm.
medicine. You're more than your board scores, you're more than the DO at the end of your name. What are you
Hmm.
passionate about outside of medicine? When it was time for you to treat yourself, what were you doing outside of those
Hmm.
DIYs, which we will talk
Hmm.
about as well? What were you doing? How
Hmm.
do you treat yourself? How do you enjoy yourself?
Yeah. So my school, they did a really good job when we started. They gave us a kind of like a checklist of
Mhm.
how to use self-care. So apparently, according to the checklist, you can be doing something every day for your self-care.
Mm.
So yeah, apparently. I'm sure we most of us don't, but apparently you can. Whether that's like a little sugar scrub after you
Mhm.
wash your hands, a bubble bath, TV time, like on no studying or anything
Mhm.
during your TV time, like just those little things. So for me, I would do my sugar scrubs. I would just like give myself a little massage. I would do my nails. I would go out to eat, which I love. I love going out to eat. I
Me
would go
too.
out to eat. Yeah. Sometimes it would look like going to the grocery store with a friend. And
Mhm.
sometimes that sounds sad, but like in medicine, like you still have to do house stuff and study. So if I could kind of couple things, I would. It would still be an outing. I would still get to talk to a friend of mine, but we'd still have to get the stuff done that we need to go get done. Um, yeah, I just really enjoy kind of like getting out there and just brunching and things like that. So that's what I did to treat myself in medicine and also travel.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, you're a travel
Yeah.
girl. Yeah, you
Yeah,
are.
I'm a
You
travel
should
girl.
follow her on Instagram. Your travel content is also amazing. Yes,
Thank
it's true. It's
you.
true. What are some DIY things that you created? I used to see them on your Instagram. Did you create the thing behind you, the artwork
I
behind you?
did.
That's really awesome. Yeah,
It's like a set of
list where.
pictures. Yeah, it's like a
Mhm.
minimalist wall art. I did. So a lot of my DIYs circle around home improvement.
Nice.
Like I do wall art and like interior design and things like that. But to be honest, I will say I like to be a humble person in general, but God bless me with that one. Like DIYs, like you don't have to worry about me. You don't have to worry
Yes,
about
I
me.
love that.
Like I can almost recreate many. I can recreate a
Wow.
lot of things, and I like that. I do my nails
I
now
love your nails.
myself.
They're so nice. Yeah.
I do my nails, those type of DIYs I do, and I do a lot of like event decor
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff like that, but like in a DIY way. Yeah.
Wow, that's the multifaceted nature I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The outlets are showing they're thriving. That is
Mhm.
so cool. Like I said,
Yeah.
guys, follow her Instagram, follow her TikTok so you can see the DIYs because they really are so,
Yes.
so
Yes.
beautiful.
Please, please, please.
Yes. Okay. Next, I want to pivot into we've talked about your past, we've talked
Hmm.
about applying to med school. Let's talk about the present now. You are transitioning, moving on to your first job as a doctor. You are now a rising PGY1 resident. What are you excited about for this chapter of your life?
Hmm.
What are you reflective on in your journey?
Hmm.
Are there any words of wisdom? Actually, no, sorry, I'm asking you too many things at once. This is a break. I'm giving you a lot of information at one time. Let me just joke. So now you are in this new chapter. You
Hmm.
are about to have your first job as a resident. You're a PGY1. How do you feel?
It's it's surreal.
Mhm.
It's actually very interesting because, to be honest, I feel like white coat ceremony was last week.
Wow.
So to know that I will be the doctor. It's a very like humbling thing to know. And I'm just like very excited about it. I'm excited to have my patients. I'm excited to have like patients come to me for things and we speak together. That's just something that, you know, you work so hard to get here. And it's just like, wow, it's happening. I'm excited to also get out of the awkward med student phase. with her. Like it's just you don't know anything. You're just there vibes, So I'm very happy to be able to kind of step up into that leadership role
Mhm.
that like we've been working so hard to get to. So that's what I'm excited. It's a little bittersweet though. I'm not gonna lie. I am terrified as well, but more excited.
Mhm. I'm excited for you, and
Thank you.
I'm so excited for you. I'm hoping that you have the best experience, and I hope that there's just so much growth and enjoyment and balance
Mm,
in this new
I
chapter of
hope
your
so.
life.
Balance is
And
key. Balance.
balance.
That's the one.
So my last question, I usually ask my guests at the end for words of wisdom and encouragement that they'd like to pass on to the MD, to the DO to be. So from you, Redia, to the med student to be, to the pre-med, to someone who was thinking about a career in medicine, and someone who was actually thinking about stepping out of medicine, is not sure, not feeling confident, what word of advice, of inspiration can you pass on to them?
I have a few. I'll make it short though.
Go ahead, go ahead. No,
First thing
take your
is,
time. Take your time. Take your time. Mhm.
sorry. Okay, so the first thing is, it takes a village. It takes a village in this profession. And if you are earlier in the medicine field, you will realize that as a doctor, you want to know everything, right? You want to, it's like, it's almost like a field that makes you feel like you should know everything. And the truth is, nobody knows everything. So it's very important that you speak to people and you inquire about things because you do not know what you don't know until you find out. So it takes a village. Lean on people. Do not suffer in silence, no matter what stage you're at. Talk to people. Be okay with saying, hey, like I didn't understand this. Could you explain?
Mhm.
Hey, I don't really know how to navigate finding an internship. What did you do? You as you ask questions, you get more answers. It may not be from that person, but it kind of trickles through. So be okay with leaning on other people and kind of creating your own network of people who you know will support you, give you the best advice, and just help you through your journey. So that's the first one. Takes a village. Second one is be very confident in who you are and your failures.
Mhm.
And that is something that took me forever to learn. Um, Especially through pre-med because it almost got to the point that like if I was talk about MCAT, I would start crying. Like I it's rough, or I talk about med school and then I'd start crying. And you cannot be in that stage and succeed as well as you were meant to succeed. You have to be okay with the fact that it didn't go how you were going to go. You need to be confident in it because these life lessons truly, truly make you the best doctor you can be. It oh man, like looking back, like those times of struggle really, really, really helped me in medical school. It really helped me in medical school, and it kind of gave me this confidence that like, okay, but that's not all I am. You are not your MCAT score. You are not this person who can't get into medical school. You are not like just you are a human being, and every experience you have is shaping you into the best doctor you're going to be for your patients. So I would say it takes a while, but getting confident. I even had to pray about it. I was like, Lord, like, let me know. Am I
Yes.
let me know. Like, did I get the wrong signal here? Like, was I not supposed to be a doctor? Like, give me a
Oh,
sign.
you're speaking right to me.
Honestly, that day, like, I got, a pre-med experience. So I was like, okay, I'll take it as a sign. But like honestly, like it's sometimes the journey can get a little dark. Well, even after medical, once you get in, like through boards and stuff, the journey can get dark. But having that confidence that like I'm trying my best, and these failures do not break me is something that's really really important. And then the last one is just, persevere, balance, try, just keep going. And I didn't, to be honest, when I was trying to get into medical school, I was just doing what I was doing. You know what I mean? I didn't really realize it was perseverance until I looked back and I'm like, wow, I kept going. Or I speak to some of my mentors that I found, and they're like, yeah, like it's been a journey. I was like, I know, I didn't realize. But like, just like keeping strong, keeping strong. it will happen the way it's supposed to happen. And as med students, we get really fixed on schedules. At least I do.
Me too.
So
Yeah.
get fixed on schedules and timelines. And it's gonna happen when it needs to happen. You just keep
Wow.
your village and keep pushing.
Wow. If no one else watches this episode, I would have learned something and this would have been enough for me because
Oh,
the message that I'm not even like
mm-hmm,
joking, like the
mm-hmm.
words you just said, I was even getting a little teary-eyed, but I've already cried on this podcast before. I don't want to cry again. That's not my brand. But that's not my brand, please. But I do
Mm-hmm,
think that no, I'm actually getting serious here. I
mm-hmm,
do think that yes, the fear of being outside of the timeline that you set for yourself is enough for you to be deterred from moving on in a
mm-hmm.
journey when it takes longer than you expected. You know?
Exactly.
And so to hear you say that looking back on your journey now, the delay was not denial. The delay
Mm-mm.
rather was building you up to be the best DO, to be the best doctor that you possibly could be,
Yeah.
in addition to all the things you are outside of medicine, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
thank you so much for sharing that honestly.
Of
Um
course.
yeah, it's beautiful to see you in this chapter of your career. Thank you for being here. It is so great to hear your story in its
Mm-hmm.
entirety. It's so great to get some words of information from you to hype you up as well.
Mm-hmm.
God bless you and good luck on this new
Thank
chapter of your
you.
life.
Thank
I'm
you
sure
so
people
much.
watching this are going to be so moved by your story. So intrigued by the many things you can do, please check out her DIYs. Please check out her aesthetic videos.
Yeah.
She really is that girl. This is not a joke.
You
She
know, I
really is.
even forgot. Like the thing is, like I do so many things. I even forgot. Like I have an Etsy.
Oh,
Like I have.
you have an Etsy?
Yes, I have a
Okay,
business where
there
I
you go.
make med school gifts.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I kind of like took it up during COVID. I started getting into digital art. So like I'm a person who loves celebrations because obviously it's been a long road. So we have
Mhm.
to just enjoy the little moments. So like I started making like cards, stickers of encouragement. I
Wow.
made match day t-shirts.
Wow.
And yeah, like I just love making gifts and things to celebrate the road. So yeah, check that out.
Yes, please check that out. I'll add it in the description after. But yeah, thank you so much, Redia. Everyone, please send love to Redia. Please send words of encouragement. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day, girl.
Thank you.
And I was just really trying to learn how to balance. I really honestly was so just strictly focused on school. I wasn't focused on like finding a balance outside.